Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. Jennie Potter says she has found the secret sauce for success. Let's find out more. Jennie, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Bill, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on the show.
Jennie, obviously, you've written a wonderful book, SELF SABOTAGE No More. So we really want to find out about that and find out about this secret sauce that you're telling us. Now, if I read your book correctly, you say that many of us have been flying on autopilot for a long, long time. What does that really mean?
Sure, Bill. I always share a story around autopilot because my dad was a pilot. And when I was around 12 years old, I was invited to go on an overnight with him. He was going to Mexico. And so, of course, I said yes. I was 12. And he invited me up to the front of the plane for landing. The flight attendant came back and got me, and we went up to the front of the plane. And as my dad went to descend, this alarm went off in the cockpit. And literally this woman's voice and a sound of alarm said, pull up, terrain ahead, terrain ahead. And I'll never forget that moment because that's literally what we do, what happens inside, what happens in our subconscious when we set a new goal or decide to take a new exit or do something different, show up for success. Maybe this is fear of success triggers this, or fear of failure triggers this, but this alarm goes off. And so my dad told me to be quiet. He, him and the co-pilot checked all the things, flicked all the switches, did all the checks that you're supposed to do. And yet they couldn't turn off the voice. So finally, they just shut it all down and went manual and flew the plane in. And I think that's what we have to do because we really do choose our destination quite early on in life. We choose a destination, and then our brain likes habit. It likes to do things the same way over and over. It likes to have the same thoughts over and over. And so what happens is we head towards that specific destination, whether we know we're going there or not. We set up an autopilot. It's almost like a survival technique or an energy saving technique.
Now, if I heard you correctly, you said you did this around 12 years old. And if I remember from reading your book, most of us kind of set these, I'm going to say ground rules, to use a baseball expression, from about ages 7 to 12. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So before the age of 12, we've decided what we're worthy of. We've decided what's possible for us, what someone like us can achieve, most of us. Now, of course, we can reset that autopilot, but if you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to fix it. So many of us before the age of 12 have decided whether we'll be successful or not, or whether we're worthy or not of success.
Now, in a way, isn't that almost a good thing, though? So, for instance, let's say I'm 10 years old and the bully is bothering me at school, but I take a look at this bully and I know he or she is a couple of inches bigger, they're stronger, and if I have a fight, I'm going to lose that fight. Or maybe something just simple that if I try to cross the road before the car gets there, I'm going to lose that battle and get severely hurt. So aren't those autopilot mechanisms good for us sometime?
For sure. The alarm goes off, and I always like to say, sometimes it's burnt toast, and sometimes the house is burning down. And this is
I like
my
that.
favorite.
I like that.
Yeah, because our alarm goes off, and you have to stop and take a moment. So the alarm going off can look like procrastination. It can look like sabotage. It can look like making the decision to get healthy and then going and eating a tub of ice cream. The alarm going off can look all kinds of different ways, but what happens is the smoke detector goes off, and then you have to decide, is this burnt toast or is the house burning down?
Can you give us some examples of some of the statements we put in our mind, I guess, early in life, in that 7 to 12 year time frame, that kind of stay with us and maybe guide us away from the success we truly want?
For sure. So for many, a common, what I call sabotage belief, and most people are familiar with the terms limiting beliefs or false beliefs. These sabotage beliefs are things like, I'm not worthy of love. I don't deserve success. I don't fit in. I'm never included. No one hears me. Life isn't fair. Life doesn't work out for someone like me. I'm ugly. I'm unlovable. I could go on, but those are really some very common ones that very early on those are planted. And the bizarre thing is, Bill, is that we're designed to Velcro to the stuff that doesn't feel good so that we don't do it again. And I forget who said it, but there's a quote around positive stuff sliding off like Teflon and negative stuff sticking like Velcro. Essentially, we're designed to remember, like if you ate a handful of poison berries, for the rest of your life, when you saw unknown berries, you would feel sick to your stomach because that's the survival mechanism. But what happens is we program ourselves. Maybe you ran for student council. You thought you were going to win and you didn't make it. And for the rest of your life, anytime you run for a goal, you feel sick or you don't feel like doing it or you procrastinate. And it's really just like that handful of berries. Your subconscious is like, hey, last time we did this, it didn't feel good. Let's not do it again.
And obviously, that's kind of a small thing, or we would think, gee, I ran for student council. This was so many years ago. And yet the result, or maybe getting turned down for a date or not making the team, is still with us if I'm hearing you correctly and if I understand this correctly. Is that the deal?
100%. So I like to say that we think we're driving the bus. Conscious mind only has about 5% of the steering wheel, and then 95% is that subconscious mind that gets programmed as we go through life, as we go through experience, as we create beliefs. And really what beliefs are thoughts that we have that we believe are true, that we give weight to. So if the bully in the schoolyard says you're stupid, but your whole life you've been told you're smart, you're a quick thinker, you're quick on your feet, it probably won't land. If the bully in the schoolyard says you're stupid and you've never had any positive messaging around how smart you are, it might land. And then for the rest of your life, you may choose to not do things or not go for things or not run for things or not put your hand up for things because you internally believe that you're stupid.
And this isn't something we actually know about. Like if someone said, what team do you root for? You'd say the Yankees or the Mets or the Red Sox. If I understand correctly, this is going on kind of in the back of our mind and we're reacting to it. But we, as you said, autopilot, we don't even realize that we're reacting to it. We're just doing it.
That's exactly right.
Now, as I read the beginning of your book, I'm saying, this sounds like something Dr. Phil should be talking about. So do we need Dr. Phil or Dr. Phyllis or somebody of that ilk to help us with this? I mean, you're bringing it to our attention today, and I love the fact that your book, and it's entitled Self Sabotage No More, I love the fact that it's short, it's brief to the point, so if someone says, oh, I'm not a reader, you don't really have to be a reader. You just want to change your life, and this gets right to the meat and potatoes. It's not a lot of fluff. It's not a lot of long, dragged-out stories. But can we do it through the book and through your instruction, or do we need psychologists, psychiatrists, etc.?
You can 100% do it with the book. All of this is self-learned skills. I have thousands of hours of personal growth and counseling. My background is in counseling. I'm a coach as well. And I wanted to write something, Bill, because when I discovered part of why we sabotage, I got so excited that I just wanted everyone to hear about it because a lot of people don't know. We talk about the autopilot and we've kind of touched on filter settings or those sabotage beliefs, how we see the world. But the bigger piece is the underlying emotion. And so I created a method that anyone can use that I essentially identifies the emotion that gets triggered, that's old. Like if you can imagine when we have emotions, it's your kidney or your liver pulses a vibration. Your body knows to be scared, to go back to your example, knows to step back from the side, from the back onto the sidewalk because there's a car coming. So we have these mechanisms to keep us safe. But what happens sometimes is when we have an emotion, it doesn't fully process. So I like to say joy bubbles up and out. Everyone can kind of relate to that. So most emotions, we're supposed to experience them, see them as a guidance, and then ideally welcome them and, notice like, oh, danger. Oh, that, I need to set a boundary or whatever the thing is. And so if you can identify the emotion that didn't process, so essentially got stuck in processing along the way, that's still getting triggered every time you go for a goal. So if you're, for example, procrastinating, we're talking about success. A lot of times, one of the stumbling blocks is procrastination. So if there's something you're procrastinating about, there's likely an emotion underneath that. And so I have a method that anyone can do that you can walk through identifying the emotion, ideally finding where it came from, and then letting it go.
This sounds fantastic, and I think a lot of us are saying, oh, my God, she's describing me, or that's what happened to my son or my husband or my brother. Jennie, before we go further, I'd like to let our audience know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Our guest today is Jennie Potter, Potter. Her book is Self Sabotage No More. And Jennie, we're going to ask you, is there a website where we can get more information?
Yes, Bill, it's www.jenniepotter.com, JenniePotter.com.
And to our audience, as always, if you didn't get it down, don't worry. We'll give you that information at least 2 more times before the end of the show. And if you need a little time to get either your cell phone in order to take notes or your pen and pencil, do whatever you prefer and just get that down because you're going to want this. And obviously, it could be very much life-changing for everyone. Jennie, can you tell our audience some of the people that maybe you worked with so that they can identify with certain situations that are common? Is this in marriages, picking the wrong mate, weight loss, just succeeding, let's say, as a salesperson, setting a goal and reaching it?
Yes, yes, and
And
yes.
yes. Okay. Can you give us some real-life examples of that, perhaps?
Of course. So it's everything from high-level executives and entrepreneurs who are setting goals. Maybe they keep hitting a limit of how much they can make each year. It doesn't seem to matter how they show up or what they do. They keep hitting a limit. I had one client working with me, and we identified the emotion that was blocking him from earning a higher income. I think he was earning around $325,000 a year, and his goal was 500. And he kept running for that, but just never hitting it. Within a week of us identifying, and I love these stories, within a week of us identifying and releasing the emotions that were blocking that goal, he was approached with an offer to join a new company with a signing bonus of $175,000, and he instantly went to 500.
That's too good to be true.
No, you can't make this stuff up. Other examples like weight. I've had clients, I've worked with clients, and we're not even working on weight, but we clear out those unprocessed emotions. And they notice that they're starting to lose weight. They're starting to make different choices. I would say that on average, the majority of people that I work with or people that read my book, what they notice is that they feel lighter, that they feel more neutral and less triggered. So when they make a goal, or even when you're at the dinner table, Bill, and one of your parents makes a comment or sibling makes a comment and it triggers you, but your friend at the table thinks it's funny.
Oh, yes.
They think, oh, they didn't mean anything by that, but you feel really triggered by that. So that's the kind of stuff that old emotion will light up and get in your way of how you respond to relationships, definitely in marriages, and also, of course, with our self-talk and our self-worth and what we decide we're worth running for. Mm-hmm.
Now, Jennie, you use the words subconscious and conscious, and I think a lot of us feel we know what's going on because we're conscious of it all day. We're active at work or whatever we're doing in relationships, or again, maybe losing weight or trying to get stronger at the gym. But which one is the bigger one for us, the conscious or the subconscious?
Well, they're both really important. You can't really have one without the other. They work together, kind of like orchestra and the conductor.
Okay.
So I would say that the subconscious is the orchestra, and it's playing, if the conductor isn't giving the right message or puts the baton down or whatever, it's like a whole bunch of different songs playing. If you can get your message as the conscious conductor, you can get your message to the subconscious. And there's very simple ways to give your subconscious messages, like when you're relaxed is the best time. So when you're falling asleep at night, you can give your subconscious the message, I'm worthy, I'm successful, I'm beautiful, I'm in action, I live my best life, that kind of thing. And then your subconscious goes, oh, we're worthy, we're lovable, we're successful. And so some of it takes a little bit of reprogramming, but because we programmed it around 7 years old. And if you can imagine a 7-year-old programming the autopilot, we don't really want that. So to answer your question, they both work together. And it's really important that we're aware of both.
Now, I read the term in your book, sabotage anchors. What are those?
So I say those are like, those are the big ones, like that belief. So I'll give you an example. A lot of people grow up learning that that money is evil. Okay. And so they have it in their mind that money is evil. They were taught that maybe in church or maybe, by a well-meaning aunt, but they're taught that money is evil or that rich people aren't happy or something like that. So that would be an anchor that no matter how hard someone tries to, earn money, maybe they earn money, but then their marriage becomes unhappy, or, they kind of can't have happiness and wealth. They can have wealth, but they have to work, 24-hour day, or they get sick, or something else suffers. And so the anchors are the things that can hold you back from really setting sail towards where you want to head.
Now, someone listening to the show today, if they're hearing what you're saying, can they, let's say, do a review of their life and say, all these problems come because my brother always said, you're ugly, you're stupid, you'll never amount to anything. And we're being extreme here, but just to use that example. Or do they need an outside person, either like yourself or a good friend, who really says to them, no, look, let's be realistic. You're not Miss America, but you're definitely attractive. You're definitely not stupid. You did this, this, and this. And, when putting things in some type of order, the person says, well, yeah, you're right. I did win that award. I got those grades in school. I am not stupid. Is that enough to do it? Or do we need, I'm going to say professional help, people out there, looking for this in depth?
So, I'm sure some people need more professional help than others, but at the end of the day, you can reprogram yourself. And I do have tools in the book that can help you identify those beliefs and release them. And so if you did have strong programming, many people did as children, even just to be seen. Children are to be seen and not heard. I don't know how many adults that has silenced, but it's still all these years later, it's still in the background. I'm to be seen but not heard. But even if you had really negative messaging as a child, if we can identify that messaging and then release the emotion around it, you will see transformational results. And I get very excited about this, Bill, because I identified a long time ago that I didn't feel worthy. My conscious mind, I knew I'm worthy of love, but my subconscious did not believe I was worthy of love. There was like an anchored belief, like I am not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of a good relationship. And so there's that conflict there. And so it didn't matter how many times I said in the mirror, I'm worthy of love. It took like 2 decades to get that message in, but there's a quicker way. And this is why I got excited about the book, is because I can show you how to identify that belief and release it and have an instant shift instead of a, like me, 2-decade shift.
Well, we want to find that out. But before we go any further, Jennie, again, we want our audience to know you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Our guest today is Jennie Potter, Potter. Her book is Self Sabotage No More. And Jennie, we're going to ask you about the website where we can find out more information.
Yes, thanks, Bill. So my website is www.jenniepotter.com, and it's JenniePotter.com.
And once again, we'll give you that before the end of the show one more time. So if you need to get it down, and I would take it down because tomorrow you're going to be talking to someone about it. And you say, what was the name of that book? Who was that author? She made so many good points. And obviously, this can be life changing. And even if you're not a big reader, the book is only a little more, I think, than 100 pages. She gets right to the point. There's no fluffing around in here. You're going to change your life. And you heard one example, and we're going to ask her for a few others. Jennie, if someone comes into you, just take a typical client that you might be working with. Is it a long process to get this, or do they identify it quickly, or are you the one who actually notices it in their personality?
Yeah, it's a combination. I mean, I definitely give you the skills in the book. Sometimes people need a little bit deeper one-on-one work, but in general, if you're committed and you learn the skills in the book, you can absolutely clear your own emotions that are holding you back from whatever the goal is, whether it's weight loss, happier marriage, less reactive with the kids. Like if you're listening and you have teenagers, definitely do, because it will help you be more neutral and hold the space instead of reacting. A lot of times when we react as parents, it's because of how we were raised. And if we can clear that old emotion, we can be just more neutral is the simplest way to say it.
So you make a great point there, because I think a lot of time people think success, money, and that's not what you're saying to people in the book. It can be whatever is important to them, whether it's working with your children, your spouse, just getting a position, I guess, in life that you like, that you're happy, not necessarily one that pays the most or pays more than other people in the area. If you're happy with it and what you're doing, basically life skills, but there's that little block in the back of our mind that is kind of a gremlin that seems to be holding us back, if I'm reading your book correctly.
Absolutely. So success has its own array of emotions around it. And that's why I mentioned goal setting at the beginning too, is like we set that goal and then the alarm goes off. If there is a particular thing, maybe you're not happy at your job and you don't know what your purpose is. Maybe we can clear away some of that emotion. If you read this book and apply the skills, you can clear away some of the emotion that's getting in the way of you having that clarity around your purpose. Maybe you have some false beliefs around money, that you're not a good steward of money, or that money doesn't come to you easily, or you have to work hard for money, or there's lots of different messaging around money. And when we're kids, we just watch and we learn. We're little meaning-making machines. So we watch and we learn, and sometimes we don't learn the best lessons.
And it's funny, while you were answering a question, I was thinking to many of our past guests, and many who have been female, either entrepreneurs or very successful in whatever field they're in. And so many of them, their book or their article starts out with very much what you were just saying. As a little girl, they were told, oh, you're a nice little girl, go play with your dolls. Or you go sit over here and let the men work this out, or the boss, or somebody either in the family or the business who was so-called big shot or more important than them. And then at some point they realized, wait, I either know more than that person, and they moved on to another company, or I could do that better than that person, or there's no reason I have to keep my mouth shut. And the final result, of course, is that they're on our show as a very successful entrepreneur or business owner, or successful in a field that is giving them a lot of fulfillment in life. So it's exactly what you said, with just another frame around it. I took a quote out of your book. I know this has been said before, but you actually said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. How can we get our mind working more in the can, C-A-N, in the affirmative, then I think most of us tend to take that negative path, because we dwell on maybe 3 or 4 things that went wrong in the last year, and we blame it because we're either too heavy or not pretty enough or not handsome enough or not young enough, something like that.
Yeah. So what happens is we have these, and I don't like to get sciencey, but in the most simple term, we have these neural pathways that are like highways for certain thoughts. And we kind of get into these patterns of thinking certain thoughts that don't serve us, thoughts that don't move us forward. And so really, I always say it's like you have these highways and they're headed to a destination you don't want to go. So if you're always thinking about an area where you failed or somewhere where you're not good enough, it's going to keep taking you towards that place. And I always say, just pull over to the side of the road, grab your machete, go down to the forest, go to that deer path and start creating a whole new path, a path that is filled with affirmations of I am worthy, I am showing up, I am successful, I am growing, I am whatever, a favorite child of God. I would choose a few to start and really use those until you rewire your brain to have a different pathway, a different highway to a better location.
Jennie, before the show, you were kind enough to inform me that we obviously can't change somebody in the show today in the few minutes we have left as we explain what self-sabotage is, et cetera, but just as a starting point for our listeners, someone who's listened to the show now, they have the background you gave us. What is something they can do till they can get hold of your book, or is there another step that they should take to start changing their life?
So I do have my method, the alarm method. I can walk you through that. I don't know how many seconds we have.
I think we only have about 30 seconds left, so maybe a little more than that. But that's why I said I know you won't have the time to go through that. But is it identifying the problem first and then getting hold of the steps in your book, or what do they have to do?
Absolutely. So if they go to my website, they can download the alarm method, and that will help them get aware of what the emotions are, locate them, and release them. Super simple, quick, and easy. And of course, I go into further explanation in my book as well.
And I think just reading the book makes people aware of the fact that this can be done. Just as you said, the gentleman who was kind of stuck on a certain income and then all of a sudden after getting started, maybe it won't happen that quickly, but at least if people are alert to it, they know what's holding them back and keeping them from those, wonderful victories of success. And again, whatever that might mean, not necessarily money, but whatever it means in life to them, that would be great. Before we wrap up, again, I'd like our audience to know the book is Self Sabotage No More. It's by our guest, Jennie Potter, Potter. And Jennie, one more time, would you give us the website?
Yes, that's jenniepotter.com, JenniePotter.com.
And again, to our audience, do yourself a favor, get hold of this, take a look at it, and try that alarm method. What do you have to lose? Jennie, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Bill.
I'd like our audience to know that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, asking you to please join us again next week at the same time when we will continue our journey to success.